What's up, traders? It's your boy Vinboss, aka Vincent, and today we are here to deal with you with the top Forex forecast. Now, with that being said, traders, what I would like to highlight and make sure that you understand is that we are still in a bearish downtrend from the DXY, the dollar index. That is why going into next week, the major theme that I'll be going into or that I'll be following going into next week is selling the dollar. Now, very simply put, what we would like to see is maybe a continuation of the pullback up until we retest this monthly liquidity right here at 98.11 and then look for selling opportunities to the downside to continue to make out a new low. This is the entire plan for next week and the week after. Now, with that being said, beautiful traders, I do see this having a chance because as you can see, this is our moving average and it is now starting to act as resistance. I do see this coming in without even reaching the monthly liquidity and starting to zone out and go to the downside as we are currently projecting. Now, this would be bias to the downside, and with that being said, if we do get a bias to the downside, this is the idea that I will follow. But if we are going to continue with the dollar strength going into the end of this month of February, I would see this go out and take out structure here, and this is when I will start to change the idea to look for selling opportunities. But this is the unlikely event that it will happen. So if it does, we will wait for it to break the structure above here and then continue with the pullback to look for a buy setup. What this looks like for me is a complete A, B, and a C, as we do have a new high from here. This is an ABC correction pullback, and look for bearish patterns and formations to continue to the downside to take out structure and potentially make a new low. This is what I do want to see from the DXY going into next week. So without wasting much time, traders, let's go straight to the euro and the dollar. And traders, we are now dealing with the euro and the dollar, and with the euro and the dollar, what we do have is very similar to the DXY. It is inverse. What we do want to see is still a continuation to the upside, and with the continuation to the upside, we do see that we do have a retest of that 200 moving average, and after the retest of the 200 moving average, we do have bullish patterns and formations. And with those bullish patterns and formations, it's very simply put to say that what we could have is in the middle of the day or in the beginning of the day, we could have a retest of this monthly liquidity place or area, which is 1.17700. This would be a great place to look for buying opportunities to continue making higher highs and higher lows. This would be a great place to look for buying opportunities. This is the euro and the dollar. And with that being said, traders, if you are already watching these videos and wondering how you can join a winning group, what you can do is register your trading account with Exness, and you should register your account with an exclusive Exness link which will be left under the video description right now, and verify your trading details, of course, and then fund the minimum of $50 or more to activate your account and start receiving trading signals with us, and then send proof of registration to me in Telegram. The link to the Telegram is right here. T.me Vinboss free signals or Vinboss free signals. You can search us also, Vinboss free signals, and then join the Vinboss free signals. Right now we still have a few members in there, but if we do reach the 100 cap, we will no longer be accepting new people for free. We will be charging them. So with that being said, back to the charts. What do I want to see going into next week? I would like to see the market go up, break structure, continuation to the up, to the higher side to break out this low. Remember, next week is the last week of the month, and we should always be very careful when we are trading the last wave of the month. But particularly, the structure right now favors the movement to the upside without any hesitation. So with that being said, we are still structured to the downside. If we are going to sell this, I would like to see it come down and break out this low right here at 1.17855. 1.1781785. This would be a great place to look for selling opportunities if we do reach this, but up until then we are still agents of buying this momentum to the upside. As you can see, the A, B, C structure or wave analysis, the corrective wave of ABC still stands, and we are now looking to go to the upside to take out the structure and potentially the structure before within a period of 5 days. Now, with that being said, beautiful traders, this is just what to expect going into next week. And if you are not in it or you don't know when to time this, it is preferably okay for you if you join us on Telegram to get these trading signals on Telegram. So with that being said, beautiful traders, let's go over to the euro and the Japanese yen to see what it has in store for us. And with the euro and the Japanese yen, very simply put, what we do have is a straight line to the downside. We did have this, and this was a beautiful setup to go down and to take out structure right here, right when the new moon phase began. Now, with that being said, traders, what do I want to see now? I do want to see this give us more lower lows and lower highs to continue to the downside. But if it doesn't and it keeps on going up, these are the two places that I would like to see the market react from to give us lower lows and lower highs. Overall, I'm bearish on the euro and the Japanese yen. Overall, I am bearish on this structure and I would like to see it go to the downside. We are not in any type of bullish entertain or bullish momentum to the upside. If we do get anything like this, because we are buying the euro and the dollar, then very simply put, this is what I would like to see. I would like to see it reach these levels, or perhaps potentially this level again right here of 185.375, which is the monthly liquidity. Then I would look for bearish opportunities from this level to continue to the downside. This is exactly what I would like to see. I would like to see it go to the downside. So if we do not get any bearish momentum from the euro and the Japanese yen from these levels going into next week, then I would like to see it continue further in or deeper into these levels of resistance and liquidity levels to find bearish patterns and formations so that we can take it to the downside and we can probably profit from the downward momentum. So from now on, what I would like to see is this, or rather, if we do not get what we would like to get, I would like to see this. This is the overall direction. This is the overall trend. We are not looking for any buying opportunities. If we do not get any selling opportunities and the market continues to go to the upside at 1.84.35, this would be a great place to look for selling opportunities also to continue with the momentum. The structure is still biased. The only time I would look for buying opportunities is if we break this structure right here and the previous monthly structure, which is 186.85. This would be the levels where I would know that we are no longer in a selling momentum on the euro and the Japanese yen. So with that being said, let's go straight to the pound and the dollar. And with the pound and the dollar, what we do have is very similar to what we have in the euro and the dollar. We are already in a buying setup from this level because of the monthly liquidity, and we have just tested the monthly liquidity. What I would like to see is if we do get below and retest this wave liquidity, then look for buying opportunities, and then a continuation to the upside would be a fantastic place for me to would be a fantastic setup for me to go to the upside and break out this structure and this structure. You have to follow these trading setups with caution, as you can see that in here, unlike on the euro and the dollar, in here the pound and the dollar is now below this moving average, and it might act as resistance for the first time before breaking to the upside and continuing so to the upside to break out this high, these lower highs. So with that being said, this continuation to the upside is most imminent, and I'm looking only, and I do mean only, for buying opportunities. I'm not looking for any selling opportunities right at this moment. And if anyone is looking for selling opportunities, good luck with that setup. I would probably join selling opportunities under the circumstance that we do break below this level right here. And after that, that's when I would definitely be looking for selling opportunities. Without the level being broken or the markets going below it, then I wouldn't even be thinking about it. This level is 1.3331. This would be a great place to look for selling opportunities only if we do break below, because this is the last week of the month, and if we do not get a strong momentum to the upside, what we would potentially get is a break to the downside, and then maybe a retest going into the beginning of March, and then after the full moon we go to the downside. What you can see is I'm using the moon phases intertwined with the Fibonacci and the key levels of liquidity. This helps and improves the market strategy. So with that being said, traders, this is what I do still believe in, or what I would like to see going into the deeper ends of February. I would like to see the market go to the higher side or continue to the higher side to break this lower high and to break this lower high and potentially making a new high. As all of you can see, this is still the same, similar to the DXY and the euro dollar. We do have an A, we do have a B, and we do have a C corrective wave. This is an Elliott corrective wave. We do have this, and a potential spike to the upside is imminent in this coming week, during the middle of the week, with President Trump coming out to speak and the potential of GDPs coming out. So with that being said, beautiful traders, this is exactly what I want to see. This is what I predict, and this is exactly where the money will be going into next week. So without wasting further time, let's go to the pound and the Japanese yen to understand and see where the market potentially puts us this week. So traders, with the pound and the Japanese yen, what we do have is from last month we did have a quiet month, but the direction has just been cleared for now. What I would like to see is maybe a retest of this level, or potentially reaching the 209.31, which is the 14-day liquidity right here, and then a continuation to the downside to take out structure and continuation to the downside, because I am bearish on the pound and the Japanese yen. And more also, a second option is if we do have a deeper pullback to retest this level right here, which is the wave liquidity. We do have three types of liquidities that we are trading right now here on the Vinbo Signal Factory, which will be this liquidity right here is 211.580. This is the wave liquidity. This is where I would like to see it go to the downside. Now, we are bearish to this. The only time I will be looking for buying opportunities is if we go strongly through this liquidities without any pullback, and then I would look for buying opportunities in levels like this only if we do get a strong momentum to the upside without any prior pullback. So with that being said, beautiful traders, this is the pound and the Japanese yen. Remember, joining the real account traders community is still free. You do not need to pay anyone else. So with that being said, this is what I would like to see, or this is what I would like to see the market end up doing in the end of February. I would like to see it go down strongly and sharply. So what we have to do is watch. But what happens if the market does not reach these particular levels that I've mentioned, which is 209.31 or 211.58, and then the market starts making a new low? This is where I would definitely, if it does make a new low like this is definitely where I would I would wait for a small pullback to retest and test this, and then a continuation to the downside to take out or to make profit to the downside, because overall direction I am bearish from this. And most importantly, excuse me with that line, most importantly, this could potentially be another retest and then a continuation to the downside, as this was potentially tested as many times as possible. So this is the pound and Japanese yen analysis. Overall direction to the downside, any buying opportunities I will ignore and not react on any of it. So with that being said, traders, thanks for watching this video so far. Let's keep on going from here on out to the end of this video. Another currency that we will be looking for in this top weekly forex forecast is the US dollar and the Japanese yen. Firstly, the US dollar and the Japanese yen is bearish to the downside. Why? This is exactly why. This is the 14-day liquidity right here, which is 155.51. We started having bearish patterns and formations after reaching the levels, and the second level that we do have, which is the monthly liquidity, which is at 156.06. This was if these bearish patterns do not hold like this, and then we end the week with a strong momentum like this one to the downside. And potentially what we do have is a second retest. This would be a great place to look for selling opportunities to go to the downside. And even we do have a third opportunity right here, with which is the wave liquidity, because we do not have a new low from this. So basically this is still an A, B, and a C. If we do get to this wave liquidity right here to go down to make a new low. So this is potentially what I do expect to happen. But most likely what might happen here is, because we started having lower lows that put lower lows and lower highs, that potentially signals that this 14-day liquidity zone is potentially one of those that might give us a selling opportunities to the downside, of course, and to take out structure right here, because remember the theme that we have with the euro and the dollar and the pound and the dollar is selling the dollar against the two. So potentially even against the Japanese yen, we will be selling again the US dollar and against the Japanese yen. So this would be the theme. If the theme plays out on the euro dollar and the pound dollar, it could potentially play out on uh, the US dollar and the Japanese yen to the downside. So nothing has changed really, and nothing really is changing. What we are seeing right now is a clear scope of what to expect going into next week and the last wave of the week, which potentially might, of course, go to the downside, or most likely the highest probability of it going to the downside is higher than it continuing to the upside. So we position ourselves in a favorable position of looking for selling opportunities going into next week, and we did not have any entertainment on buying this going from last week. We did not go into this buying this because we understood one thing, that this had to be a pullback from this we had to have a pullback. And if you are not with us, last week we did have a fantastic sell to the downside, and we knew that this was going to be a pause. And then after the pause, this is why we are expecting another bearish momentum to the downside. So with that being said, this is the US dollar Japanese yen for me. I do expect to see this end up being like this, nothing any different than this. So with that being said, traders, let's do last but not least, which is the US dollar and the Canadian dollar. So traders, with the dollar and the Canadian dollar, what we do have is potentially similar to the DXY and the euro and the dollar and the pound and the dollar. Why? Because we are definitely at the monthly liquidity, just like we are at the monthly liquidity with the euro and the dollar, the pound and the dollar, and the DXY. And with that being said, what I would like to see is a continuation to the downside, because also this is the 14-day liquidity, right? They are right close to each other. This is why I would like to see it go stronger to the downside to take out structure like this. Or rather, if we do have last pull of a pullback, last kick of this pullback, then the pullback will end right here, and we would potentially be looking for selling opportunities right at this level of 1.3755. This would be a great place to look for selling opportunities and to continue with the theme of dollar weakness. Now, if you do not have this theme of dollar weakness, or if you believe that it is over, you would have to wait for something strong as this and then look for buying opportunities. Why? Because we do not like to just conclude by jumping into things. Now, this is what we have for you guys in store, which is the euro and the dollar, the pound and the dollar, the euro and the Japanese yen, the pound, the Japanese yen, the US dollar Japanese yen, and the US dollar and the Canadian dollar. These are the major pairs that we'll be discussing with you throughout the rest of the year, and this is one of the best currencies going into next week. So what I do want to see again, I would like to see this go to the downside and potentially breaking both lows. Both lows are a confirmation that we are indeed in a corrective or in a bearish momentum, which might potentially lead to March being a bearish month, and a continuation from March to April will be a fantastic setup going into the deeper ends of April. Now, with that being said, beautiful traders, that is it from me. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure you like, you subscribe, and thanks and happy trading during the week.